Welcome one and all here to the Union of European Call of Duty Mobile. It is time for the first week of Call of Duty Mobile action, and I couldn't be more excited about it. It's not exactly the way I envisioned my first Call of Duty Mobile cast of the 2025 season, but you know what? Whatever I'll take, I can take. I'm Infinity. This is Seymour. We're ready to cast some Call of Duty Mobile action. Seymour, this is your first time casting Call of Duty Mobile.
Yeah, I'm excited. Diving into something new, Infinity, alongside yourself. It's going to be a fun time getting to dissect these teams, learn some new faces, learn some new tips and tricks across these maps. And I think when we're going into the 2025 season, Brody, like you said, it's a little unexpected, but it is a welcomed broadcast that I'm sure we're both excited to jump on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing is for me, right, is that you look at kind of Europe as a whole in the scene, and I think most people who are fans of Call of Duty Mobile will be well aware of the fact that it's a region that needs help. It needs a lot of support. It certainly needs to do better on the global stage because it is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the weaker regions globally in the Snapdragon Pro series. So opportunities like this, where you can actually see some competitive action within Europe, I think that is, what it needs. It's what Europe needs on the whole. It needs a chance to improve, and this is a good start, I think, to that. With that said, then, it means that there's actually going to be a few teams in the tournament, I think, that are going to surprise a lot of people. Our first match of the day, folks, is going to be a super interesting one. If not maybe a little bit one-sided on paper, that is Glass versus Revenge. I could not be more excited to get into this matchup.
There's a lot of, I'd say, hype around this Glass roster, like you said. I mean, rostering not only who we see on screen now, but adding Marvel to the roster. You're very excited to see this one, Brody, but there's a lot of talent behind it in terms of, I'd say, skill for the European region as well. I mean, some of world final qualifications, some top placements as well through Europe. And I mean, you got Fahim on Glass as well, that is one of the best AR players in Europe due to his performances there. But from what we're looking at, I think this is going to be the actual the Glass roster that we're looking at on screen right now, not the Revenge roster. So yeah, Fahim there, Rob, one of the best SMG players, shotgun players of the regions, and then like you said, Marvel kind of rounding this one out. I mean, it really seems like Glass into this season, Brody, are bringing out all the stops for Europe.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's kind of like it's something that's it's almost a fever dream in a way, right? Because there was a little bit of like kind of last minute roster mania, if you will. I believe Glass actually ended with a slightly different roster, and so I checked things today, and I was like, yeah, well, let's just see what's kind of going on with Glass. I was like, oh, hold on for a second. Raid and Marvel are now part of this team, and for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with European Call of Duty Mobile over the last few years, you'll probably not be aware of the fact that Raid, Marvel, and Inferno have been part of a team that have dominated European Call of Duty Mobile, that of course being King's Clan. Of course, that did kind of blow up after Masters earlier in 2024. And, Marvel, of course, famously going to Team Vitality, the first international team in quite some time. So there's a lot of history here, but we're seeing those three players back together again. Glass are a crazy roster, and it really does feel like Revenge are going to be up against it. With that said, then, let's take a look at the maps quickly before we get into the game. I believe we're starting things off on a very fun one, Hacienda Hardpoint. Actually, ironically enough, Seymour, this is one of those things where usually if you're casting Call of Duty Mobile for the first time, you're like, oh my god, I get to cast a Hacienda Hardpoint. I haven't done this for years. But actually, as Black Ops 6 casters, this is something we now do on the regular.
However, firing range and Arsenal, how about that, Brody? I'm excited for this one. I mean, it's been a while since I don't even think I've ever been able to cast a firing range, but for Arsenal, it's going to be a very kind of deep dive back into the blast from the past that is this map for Control. I think it's one of the better Control maps that we've had in the tenure of Call of Duty, and to see it here has me really, really excited. But you're right, for Hacienda, for the hard point for map number 1, I mean, it's not only been around for COD Mobile for quite a long time, but now we're seeing it back in multiplayer. It is a classic for Call of Duty competitive, and for both of these two teams heading into it being a classic map, Hardpoint is the best mode noted for both of these teams. So heading to it, I think this is going to be a great place to really brawl out for both squads, especially, for Revenge, who is more so the friendship team. They're used to playing with each other. They have that chemistry. They're happy to play with each other, and I think that chemistry will bring them a long time. But for Glass, it's now you have a new roster. You bring in new pieces of the puzzle. Obviously, these pieces of the puzzle have been at the top and will reach the top yet again. But with a new iteration of this roster, it's just we're excited to kind of dissect how they play together, where that chemistry is, and how deep into the chemistry they are, because they've been telling us that they've been practicing and scrimming daily. But I want to see it translate into a match scenario.
Yeah.
It is different than when you're playing in scrims.
Yeah, definitely it is. I think that firing search and destroy is going to be particularly interesting when we get later on into the series. Of course, we will for definite see this in the best of 3, regardless of what happens. And I think it's going to be interesting because you've got 2 incredible sniper players on the same team, right? Of course, it goes without saying that Marvel is one of the best snipers in the world, if not the best snipers in the world. And then, of course, you've got Inferno as well, who has in the past run that sniper rifle role. You put them on a map like firing range, and that's going to make things excruciatingly difficult.
Open season.
For a team. It's going to make things so difficult for Revenge to make their way towards those bomb sites. Something to keep in mind as we get towards firing range, search and destroy later on in the best of 3. For now, though, I think, we've got to talk about the fact that yeah. As we're waiting to get the game started with game number 1. I mean, Revenge are a team that, for me, you look at the names on the roster, and I don't think I recognize any of them from SPS recent seasons past. With that said, though, I mean, one of the things that we've learned over the course of time in Call of Duty, whether it be regular Call of Duty or Call of Duty Mobile, is that you can never underestimate the underdogs. There's always the chance for surprises.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you and I, we've seen so many upsets over the years, and it's never out of the realm of possibility that a team can turn up on that day and take down some of the best. And then for Revenge, this is a team that, notably to us, has competed, towards the start of COD Mobile. And, you look at Maba, Draka, Raptor, played on Team Hypnotize for the first 2 years of COD Mobile. They took a break, but now they're back on this Revenge roster. And, obviously it raises some red flags, seeing that you take a break from competitive, you come back, and, you're not expected to be at that same level as when you competed in the past. But with that previous chemistry, you still have a chance to come and feel good and play your best Call of Duty with players that you're used to playing up against. And, a lot of players will say, too, that, playing against, enemies or opponents that are top tier, it almost makes you subconsciously play better. And then for this Revenge team, it's kind of looking into this, that you're playing one of the best teams that we're going to have here at the UECE. And I think if you can take Glass close, if you can take them take a win against them, that's going to put you on the radar for this league. And I think that's what they're going to be looking at. But for the past, for people who don't know this, Brody, I mean, champ stage 2 top 8, stage 3 top 12 for some of these players. I mean, they've been around, they've competed, and they're definitely not new. So I'm just looking at them to harness that past, harness that chemistry to see if they can really stick it to Glass today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, we're about to get game number 1 underway here, folks. The first game of the new season of UECE. It's going to be kicking things off on Hacienda for Hardpoint. Again, something that Seymour and I had a chance to cast a lot recently, so excited to get back into it. But it does feel good to be back in the Call of Duty Mobile, of course, all the nooks and crannies of what that gives us with a look over towards the operators in the game. Let's get going here, folks. It's Glass versus Revenge on Hacienda Hardpoint, and they're going straight towards P1, Seymour.
Yeah, this one's going to be very mixy, especially considering you're going to have a team like Glass who wants to play up close and personal. So Glass is going to be the first ones to the hills, looking for the top corridor control. And even that looked to flip the map as well, since Revenge did set up on the, or start on the better side of that P2 rotation. So everything looking good for Glass, looking standard and nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, for sure. And I expect, I think a lot of the game plan for Glass really is just going to be run head first at Revenge and hope for the best kind of thing, right? Because they know more often than not they're probably going to win the gunfight. So for Glass, we'll see whether or not that's going to turn out pretty well. For the most part, they are winning these gunfights, though. It's going to be a mostly blue kill feed that keeps Revenge out of the hardpoint. And of course, Seymour, the way that hardpoints works, these guys are going to have to start thinking about the rotation pretty soon.
And me, who typically cast basic multiplayer play, I'm going to be thinking, like, all right, you got to get the setup, you got to play from those rotations. But for this, I mean, it's early on, you won't see that specialist, but eventually, I'm sure a team like Revenge is going to have to utilize them in a very systematic manner, not to just throw them out and get rid of them, because Glass is a team that will make you punish for this one. Glass with the rotation, with the setup, they're going to be there. But you do have a spawn in the back for Revenge. They're going to be able to hit this and try to play this from the better side.
Fighting this one from the front are Glass. Those back spawns can sometimes be not that helpful for a roster like Revenge. They've got to try and brute force their way through. No operators to speak of just yet to do so. Inferno sitting in the corner will only pick up one. Drac for a couple of kills. There's a trade right back at it from Bara. So Revenge will manage to break through for the back 30 seconds here. And a reminder, folks, there's about 80 seconds or so between each hard point. So that means you're likely going to see Glass hit this over and over again. There's still a lot of time to get.
Yeah, everybody just barreling in. Revenge doing a good job at keeping this game even, and a big win there from Bara is going to continue to get this scrap time in. 15 seconds that you're looking to lock down here for Revenge. Maybe flip this lead and the kills come through. It will be a lead change for Revenge, and even that, you look at the spawns towards the right side of the map with the new hill being locked over towards Vineyard. It is a rotation for Revenge as well. Players going to be here, and this is where you start thinking about those specialists coming into play for the break. Can they use them to lock it down for Revenge? They are looking to snowball these hills together.
Yeah, and this is something I think that has really separated the best from the rest in Call of Duty Mobile in the past. It has been utilization of those operators. Revenge, can they best Glass at something they've been good at, or at least the players on Glass have been good at for the longest period of time? Here comes a Tempest out from a player operating under the name JSay. I don't actually know which player it is. I don't think this is actually JSay playing it. A bit of an unusual usage of an operator as well. The Tempest comes out for a couple of kills. Will follow up with yet another one. That's 4 in a row for JSay, providing a lot of space and time for Glass. At the same time, Inferno bringing out the Purifier for 3 kills as well. This is a big amount of utilization of the operators on this hill.
And a good heads up from JSay as well to read the spawns over towards the Vineyard side. Just reading the split spawns that Revenge get. They lock it down. This is good time for Glass to soak up. And Revenge, where they wanted to barrel in, get that back-to-back hills, it doesn't pay off. They're going to have to hit the rotation over towards P4 now. And already there is going to be some of the members of Glass to hopefully ward this off. Rob's going to be playing from the better side of that P2, but it's JSay looking for the break here, and he's going to get in.
Yeah, and that's 3 kills now for Glass, so they should have a solid, good first look at this time. Split spawns coming through from Revenge, so they'll be able to hit this from a couple of different directions. Straka is kind of a lone island at the moment, trying to keep these guys at bay from McLaren's side, while the rest of the roster actually hit the hard point. Rob trying to fire through smokes isn't going to really work out. Sparrow from Steve will come through for a 1, and while there are some kills to talk about from Glass, a couple from McLaren's side for Conway. He's actually going to have to go back towards the hard point because Revenge is still through. Lime still to be dealt with, and well, Lime just giving him the runaround. He's going to survive for long enough here that Revenge is still going to have a look at this hard point.
Inferno slides in, looking for the rest. Big win from Maba. Now looking to grab that scrap time is Revenge, as Glass are throwing everything in the kitchen sink out for this rockside hill. It will be the last 6 seconds to fight for. Maba's going to give it one last try, but we head back to the first rotations. And again, this is where Glass dominated Brody right off the get-go. And doesn't look like there's going to be many specialists on the side of Glass to utilize here. Maba with one active is the War Machine from the side of you. So hopefully going to invest this one to maybe keep Glass at bay for now, but the rest of your team is scattered if you're Revenge, and you don't want to get ahead, which Maba does. It allows Glass to just dissect you on this rotation.
I will say, fair play to Revenge coming into this matchup right now. They are playing a relatively new roster, at least new for UECE as a full squad. Nonetheless, though, they are keeping themselves relatively close to Glass. Just 20 points or so, the difference between these two teams at this point in time. Revenge are looking to find their way towards P1. Lime finds a couple of kills. JSay, though, trade to right, Bobcan out. He's going to manage to get 4 in a row, while Glass are now looking for this back time. Big value, 20 seconds here. They manage to pick it up. It will leave Revenge down by quite a large margin. That's why they're going for the contest. Maba jump shot through the smoke for a 1. Kills now starting to come through from Maba. Inferno trying to do some damage on top of the USS 9. Not going to be able to do so here. And that's the wave of gunfights that Revenge needed to start to look towards this rotation.
War Machine still allowed for Shav. Kills coming through from Glass, Brody, on this rotation. They have solidified the back spawns. They've solidified the hill now, and it is all blue in that feed. No need for the specialist just yet, but here it comes. Purify from Inferno is going to be burned. Conwar still looking to hold on. Inferno trying to get the break back. It works out. Shav invests the War Machine, so a lot invested here from Glass to hold on to this hill, looking to push their lead even further. And so far, so good for this team. They flipped them out again. This is where Glass was able to hold Revenge in those back spawns, and they're trying to do it again.
I mean, this is a massive amount of investment coming through from Glass. On the other side, I think Draka was the only one to use any kind of operators. And Glass throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at this hard point. Maba will survive that Sparrow arrow. But really, there's no real need to invest into this hill anymore if you're Revenge. And I think Glass have also kind of recognized this, right? They've put players in towards the middle of the map. They're making sure they're working the cutoffs pretty well. Rob will lose at least one of those gunfights, but it will give Glass a good look at this hill. Seymour, if they break this hill, this rotation from Revenge, this is going to spell trouble for that Revenge roster.
Steve holding on to at least a specialist for the side of Revenge, but you have the Hunter Killer Drone. You had two Shrieks for Conward. He's going to invest that Hellstorm right away. So an immediate break from Glass coming from the late rotation. It's Bar on a split spawn, hoping to pinch this out with the team to keep this one in the favor of Revenge, at least for this P3 hill. But JC coming out with the kills. The rest of Glass turning up big in the kill feed. And Brody, Revenge, although it's good investment, it doesn't come out with really anything.
Yeah, I mean, I said it right. The fact that Revenge don't convincingly keep Glass away from this rotation, they give up 15 seconds of time over by P2 to ensure that they get time on P3. The fact that that hasn't happened is not quite disastrous at this point in the game, but you are starting to really feel the heat from Glass. A couple of kills coming through from Shavkat as well. That's most certainly not going to help. Rob still hanging about the joint as well. How much more damage can he do? Drax is going to shut him down as part of a 2K, so Glass are basically throwing a couple of additional bodies at this hard point, but it is ultimately just scrap time. They have their eyes on a much sweeter prize. That rotation towards the next hill. They are there, ready and wait. Revenge trying to get some players past. Perhaps Barra can do some kind of infiltration. Not able to do so. Glass have got every single point of entry watched.
And for the first set of rotations, Brody, Revenge were doing a fantastic job at keeping up with these rotations, but it feels like for the fast 4 or 5 hills, Revenge have been looking for that break instead of trying to look for a solidified hold. And you're going to have to see if they can get an early break here, because a 95-point game right now for the side of Glass is not something you like to see. And the Prowler, or the Claw here, is going to try to be the specialist to break. Shots run out. Barra not able to get rid of that last member. Still, the contentions in Revenge are here for the P2 side. Kills come through. Equalizer burned, as well as the War Machine. And Revenge just trying their best to hold on to this game.
And there's that investment once again from the most important operator in the game, those equalizers. That's the one that you're going to find your 3 pieces. And the fact that Draco, once again, when he's required on the very same hardpoint as before, is not able to get anything. That might be the difference maker in a game like this, where Glass have maintained not just an advantage, but a pretty massive one. 105 points, the difference between these two teams. And once again, I expect that to grow. Glass in control of this time. Kill feed fully lighting up blue. It really feels like Glass are putting the hurt down now.
Killer Drone inbound. Revenge starting to fall deeper and deeper into the depths of this game, Brody. 23 seconds for Glass to win it, and they have plenty of time to get it done on this hill. Now you can see the spawns for Revenge. They're all over the place. Nobody's able to get a concrete hit together, and this is starting to look dire.
Yeah, not looking good. This looks like it should be it, realistically, unless Revenge can throw some kind of Hail Mary towards a point. And by that, I mean literally just everything, their entire bodies, because there is no stopping Glass now. And that is a map #1 victory, and a pretty convincing one at that.
And it really comes down to, it just seemed like Glass has so much to use across that map. Streaks, specialist, utilized to their full capabilities. You think back over to the P2 when that lead was just about 10 points, and then Glass invested everything just to start to explode and extend that lead. And they weren't afraid to use their specialists right off the get-go. They were finding value in them, and in turn, it led to kill streaks, which we saw the Hellstorms get used from Conwar, the Hunter Killer Drones as well, and everything was just paying off for Glass to dominate in terms of those rotations. And the score, it reflects in that. We look at the scoreboard here and just take a look at those numbers. I'm looking at Shav, though, 39 and 18 with a minute 14 in that hill, just absolutely popping off with the team. But everybody on the side of Glass having a great game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not really a surprise, is it? You look at kind of the talent that they've got on side, and you know, regardless of what names they're playing under. By the way, we don't know which players are playing under which names, so we couldn't tell you who actually had a good performance under Shavkat or JSay's account. If it's actually JSay, if JSay is like join the lineup, I'm gonna laugh. But still, you know, the fact of the matter is these guys, they simply outplayed them when it mattered. And you know, it's something I always come back to as well, is the fact that you've got a team that isn't just getting kills, but they are doing so and picking up time as a roster, right? You've got a full 5 players, all of which have basically, 74 seconds or above inside the
Yeah.
hard point. That's the lowest that they've got. You compare that to the other team, and nobody's really cracking even a minute inside the hard point. It is just a roster that nobody's afraid to hit the hill. Everyone is constantly throwing themselves at this. And on the whole, as well, it should be said, this is something we're talk big picture here for a second, Seymour, right? We're going to talk, internationally. You go to a roster like Elevate, and something that people have been talking about with Elevate, right, is in hardpoint. Elevate, by the way, like one of the best teams, if not the best team in the world, I think pretty convincingly so. One of the things that makes Elevate the best hardpoint team in the world is that they are just constantly throwing themselves at the hill. That's something I want to see European teams do more of, right?
Yeah.
Just constantly be sharing time in the hill, constantly be throwing yourself at it.
And it's not even like you're sharing hill time. You have the ability for all 5 members to almost stagger yourself into that hard point, and you're taking hill time away from your opponents there. I mean, we saw where Revenge were trying to get those breaks, but they just couldn't get any time off those breaks because there was always somebody there to contest. And for Glass, when they're so confident in their gun skill, they have the capabilities to make that happen. But here we're headed into the Fringe, map number 2. And this is where you're talking about those snipers to come into play. Inferno has one already taking Meba out.
Yeah, I just got confirmation, by the way. So just for those of you who are confused about whose name is Hugh, Jay is Fahim, Shavkat is Marvel, and Conwa is Raid. So that should tell you everything you guys need to know. Now that you guys have that information downloaded into your brains, how about a firing range search and a story to speak of? Right now, Glass versus Revenge going down. Currently, I believe we're in a 4 versus 4. See whether or not Revenge can do anything here. Numbers still not necessarily in their favor. They've made no progress as far as getting across the map is concerned.
No map control, an equal pick, but you're going to have to find a little bit more if we're going to want to reach a bomb site. It's going to be a 1-3 split for Glass, and if you read this one right, you could potentially find Rob out of play from the rest of the squad, but without that middle map control, it's going to be some early rotations from Glass to back him up. No matter where you go, it's going to be a troublesome time.
It's just so difficult for Revenge trying to make their way towards a site. They will do exactly that. Now for Glass, it's about retaking. Nobody can contend with inside the trailer at the very least. Usually you've got somebody with a shotgun there. It doesn't matter. Draca's actually going with a fight against 1, so that's pretty good. A couple of kills do come through from Raid, though. That's going to put numbers back in favor for Glass. Just 1 player remaining. It's all down to Lime. Time for a 1v3. Hits a couple of kills, but will not get the third. Raid, the star of that round for the retake.
A valiant effort, and if not for the flank from Raid, that was most likely a 1v3 for Lime. Incredible shots coming out. You get that bomb plant for Revenge, which looked seemingly impossible throughout the neutral of that rounds. But it's a great job from Revenge to just bide their time, look for an opening, and play off of that. So, gonna see if they can answer back with defense now as we're gonna be full in over towards the side of B. Glass here to stop it. Rob now getting some action. Didn't see much of that. He finds 3, and that should put you in a tough spot. 2 rounds in a row for Glass.
I was wondering who's going to be bringing out the R9. Who's going to bring out the shotgun just on the whole for Glass. And there you guys are seeing exactly why that thing is so damn revered. Shotgun comes out. Revenge put to a stop almost immediately on the offense over towards B. Facility now sent over the top. Glass now looking for something on the defense. Revenge have been pretty fast here at A, but they're already getting sniped down. And this was the problem, I think, when you're facing Glass, is exactly what I was talking about, those snipers.
You're just not getting any value in terms of kills. Inferno is picking you apart, and Raid is already in your back line. 3 rounds in a row, uncontested. Revenge just struggling in terms of getting anything done, Brody. And you're right to say it comes down to those sniper battles. As soon as you peek out, even if you want to contest them, you just can't. They don't miss for Glass. And before you know it, you're down not just 1, but 2 from those crosses. Revenge, they gotta be a little bit careful where they go in this attack because they just cannot play in those open sight lines.
I was wondering when this would happen. Aggression from Glass. The first bit has been punished, so Raid down for the count. That will slow things up for Glass significantly, but Revenge are not so crazy this time around to hit A as fast as they did. They know it was a mistake in the prior round. I will say, I mean, you're going to laugh at Fahim just being in the middle of the map and not being bothered whatsoever. He finally takes an engagement, but will walk away completely unscathed. But you are slowly grinding down the clock in this round, Seymour.
And I think that's what Revenge want to do. They want to draw these players away from their power positions, see if you can catch somebody off guard. And Inferno is going to be caught off guard over towards B. Unfortunately, the bomb is so disconnected from the play. There's going to be lots of time to rotate here. And Rob's got the shotgun in hand. He's ready for these close quarter battles.
Yeah, this was the problem last round for Revenge on their assault towards his side. Don't get over aggressive, Rob. I mean, he gets some information and gets the hell out of dodge. So still in the play is Rob. It doesn't do that much to dissuade Revenge away from this attack. It will enable the rest of Glass to make their way over, though. So now numbers significantly less unfavorable than they were. Glass are ready for this hit. There's the first one. Marvel with the first kill. Rob surely has just heard the players wrap around behind and will do the damage. The last remaining player is about as far removed as you could possibly get with 30 seconds and that bomb down on sight. That's not useful.
And it's just clinical from Glass. No confidence in the play from Revenge. They had to pick onto Inferno. I would have loved to see a little bit of a quicker rotation from the rest of the team to, take space off of that. But instead, they allow Glass to reposition, get into their positions to shut you down. And by the time you hit B, everybody's left A. Not a single player over towards A from Glass. And you're walking into a death trap. Revenge are playing right into the hands of Glass right now. And you're really seeing just how good this team is for Glass and why we were hyping them up so much.
I mean, yeah, again, it's just such a one-sided affair, isn't it? It's certainly, we felt it in the hard point. I think, I mentioned it before we even got to the series that we would feel it even more so in the fire range search and destroy, and we've seen almost every single reason why. A couple of kills with the sniper rifles, of course, has been raid with the SMG and Rob with the R9, the latter of which has been shut down in this round. So this is Revenge's best look at an offensive victory so far, and now Glass are pressed rather one-sidedly towards one side. It's whether or not Revenge actually realize that that's the case is the question for me. Even if they had, they seem to be committed towards A.
Well, you get that first blood and second. See if they can convert this into their first round win. Bomb getting planted at A. It's going to have to be a retake from Glass with lesser numbers. And last time they got the bomb down here, it was Lime to pick off 2 kills. He's got the rest of his team. This surely is a round for Revenge.
I think so. It should be. But never count out a roster like Glass. Fahim and Marvel still up. Marvel's going to pick up Maber. Now 2 versus 4. Down from the 2 versus 5. Time quickly dwindling. Of course, it is shorter for the Fuse here in Call of Duty Mobile. 15 seconds. There goes Fahim. Now just down to Marvel. And even he will not be able to pull off a miracle like that. Does not live up to his name. And Revenge are on the board.
Look, Zos fun in games using the snipers when you're finding those early picks, but if Revenge give them no value off those crosses and you're able to get that bomb down safely, Brody, trying to retake with those snipers is not the easiest feat to accomplish for this Glass team, even with how good they are. So they're going to recognize that, and I'm sure they're going to adapt quickly to try to block off these bomb sites this time, which they do. And this time Fahim is going to get aggressive through mid while the players push through that A site and get aggressive.
And there's that aggression once again. I believe that was a nade kill coming through from Raid. Raid is good from Lime. I imagine it won't be long, I want to say, before the kills are made towards Lime himself. There we go. Yeah, that's a big few kills from Lime. The good news is for the last remaining player in Draka is that I don't believe they should know where Draka is. They might have an inkling you need to get this kill against Raid, and Raid gets away with the smallest sliver of HP and all the most valuable thing in this round that you could possibly ask for. It's information as to where Draka is.
Minute 10. You get that kill, make it a 1v2. That would have been a good opportunity. Now you have the 1v2, but Convoy is already rotated back into the trailer. And Raid's going to put it away. 5-1 now for Glass. 2 rounds away from taking this series in a 2-0 fashion. Revenge got a big mountain to climb, and we swap sides. It's defense for Revenge, so let's see if they can put those snipers to use, see if they can find those first picks. But look at the aggression from Glass. They're just going to go all into A. No fear, no worries.
Yeah, and this is what it looks like when a team is just putting full pedal to the metal. Of course, we have swapped sides now. Glass on the offense, and, well, Barra has responded in kind to the sniper oppression that we saw from Marvel and Inferno earlier on, and he is being pretty effective with a couple of kills. So, Revenge in a really powerful position here. Rob's kind of stuck waiting to bait out anything whatsoever from Revenge. And I think, again, the veterans on Glass probably know that they might get it.
Rob's just waiting for anybody's bite here. Finds the timing. Draka shot in the back. 1 versus 4. This would be incredible from Rob. And he's going to swap over to the USS 9. A little bit extra range off that shotgun. But the objective is the issue right now for Rob. Looking for another pick and then possibly a bomb plant. But Revenge taking this with extra precaution.
Yeah, the problem is you kind of need to make sure you get rid of the player from American before you get the bomb down because of the angle that Barrow would have had on site. Of course, if he could have got the bomb down, the trailer positioning would have gave him a massive advantage. But again, just needed to make sure you get Barrow out of that power position, was unable to do it. So good start of the defense for Revenge. There's a long road to redemption here in this best of 3. Might at last win the next couple of rounds of Search and Destroy. The series is over right here, right now, and they obtain the first victory of UECE 2025. First kill, pretty good, coming in from Vakeem. Now down to a 4 versus 4. Glass, do they feel confident enough that they can get this bomb down? Haven't checked the corner, Rob. Surely not, Rob. Oh, no. Draka gets turned on. And right there shows just how powerful the R9 actually is.
Yeah, up close, personal. You don't stand a chance. Lime's lost his head. Now you're rotating into, see if you can clutch a 2v4. Inferno's cut off the rotation from Steve. Mapa all alone. They know the hunt is on, and Glass punched their 6th round in. So 1 round away from taking down Revenge here in this best of 3, Brody. And they're looking so sharp, so confident on the map so far. I think for Glass, this is everything you hope for and more. But Revenge, hoping to see if they can grab a couple more rounds. This time it's not working out. You lose Draka, you lose Mapa. This could be it.
Should be it. You have to imagine. You've not got the numbers in the situation if you're Revenge. Your only real hope is that Barrett, from the position of American, might be able to stop the bomb plant. That does no longer happen. Now Revenge are fighting from about as far back as you possibly can. A couple of kills, though. There we go. Barrett from American is effective. Brings this down to a 3 versus 3. This is now plausible.
Issue is Rob, though, still with this R9. This is not going to be an easy player to dislodge, and he's happy to play this front line, just ward you off, do some damage, and he slides out, finds 1. It's all down to Bara. Sniper in hand. Gonna have to go massive, but Raids on one side. Here's on the other. And that's going to be it, Brody. 7-2 in the search means 2-0 in the series. And Glass just looking so good.
Yeah, and you just see the oppression, right? It's something that happens in Call of Duty Mobile so often is when a team knows that they are better than the team that they're facing, they will very often just hit full send towards the opposition, be it on the offense or the defense, and you saw that time and time again there from so many players on Glass. They felt confident, and for good reason, I think, especially after what we saw on the hardpoint, Seymour.
No, and I think even in the search for Revenge, you saw that there were moments where they had those opportunities to maybe push a little bit more towards Clash, but they weren't taking those opportunities, and they were very cautious going into that game. Rightfully so. I mean, you're losing those first blood battles for a majority of the rounds. You saw Steve did have a couple where you were drawing those first bloods back into your favor, but even with that, they were still worried about going to those bomb sites, knowing just how good Rob was at the R9 or on both sides of the map, whether he's playing towards trailer or towards the back of B. So I think for Glass, they knew exactly what they needed to do. They dominated when in terms of the slang, and really you just never saw Revenge in there have a chance in numbers. When they did, they were able to convert it, but it rarely happened.
Yeah, again, it's pure aggression coming out. Again, the couple of rounds that we did just see from Revenge, I think, it was where the snipers were most effective, and that's kind of the key to victory on a map like Fire and Range Search and Destroy, is making sure that you have snipers covering the angles, especially on defense. I think maybe there's a certain element of Revenge feeling hard done by that they started things off on the offense, right? Because it's just sometimes so difficult to get things going in that capacity. With that said, though, I think this is just one of those situations where you see a roster like Glass that are filled with players that have been champions of the entire region, not just here on kind of like a lower level, but actually on SPS level, going up against a roster of players that, yeah, all right, these guys have kind of reached the heights of SPS also, but maybe not to the same extent. And it does feel somewhat like a mismatch. I think we kind of knew how this one would go almost immediately before we even saw what would happen in the matchup. So that means Glass have won the first matchup of UEC for 2025, but we are not done just yet, folks. We're going to go to a quick break. On the other side, though, we got another action-packed matchup coming your way. 117 not found. Yes, that one going head-to-head with Kansik. See you after the break for that. Howdy everyone, how's it going? We're ready for more UEC action here for Call of Duty Mobile. We just saw our first match of the day in which Glass convincingly took the match up 2-0 over Revenge, and now it's time for our second and final best of 3 of the night. Next up, it's 117 Not Found going head-to-head with a roster that we assume is pronounced Cantic, and YouTube chat can shout at us if we're incorrect. I'm Infinity, this is Seymour, and we're going to be walking you through all the Call of Duty Mobile action.
Yeah, we are, Brody. And I think this one's going to be really exciting. I know there was a heavy disparity between Revenge and Glass, and we saw that on stream. I'm hoping this one's going to be a little bit closer between them. I know 117 Not Found, a very respectful and strong roster, but really what stands out to me from Cantic is that it's noted that they are a strong search and destroy team. And that has me excited for going into that map number 2. I think a lot of times it's really under-respected when teams are just, search and destroy masters. And it can really translate into, prolonging this into maybe a 3-game series.
Yeah, for sure. So for those of you guys who are kind of not aware who this Cantic roster are, effectively, they're a team that have tried multiple times in the past to qualify for the Snapdragon Pro Series unsuccessfully. They've added up, I believe, Noe to the roster. I think Rukia is also on the lineup here as well, maybe potentially as a sub. Either way, they've made a couple of additions to the roster. They're hoping that will change things for UECE. On the other side, we've got 117 Not Found. This is a roster full of names that you will know if you've been following the Snapdragon Pro Series, most notably Saturns and Lucky, a Spanish duo that have performed on the 117 Not Found roster in the past. This is going to be something interesting for sure to see what they're like alongside Creed, Kirby, and Omeri. Creed, another jump scare for me, positively so. Excited to see that guy on the roster. That being said, we're not wasting any time, folks. It's time. We've got the exact same map set as the last best of 3, excuse me. That means we're starting things off on Hacienda.
And one thing that kind of came back in the first game that really was apparent towards the end of it were those rotations that were missing for Revenge. At first, they were keeping up with Glass, and it looked good, but as those specialists came into play and Glass started to use them off of those rotations to just solidify their holds, Brody, you got to see that disparity show. And for Cantic, if they want to take down 117 Not Found in this matchup, I gotta look at the utilization of their specialists in this game and see if they can try to steal away this Hacienda hardpoint in map 1.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it does feel very, I think, similar to what we saw in the last best of 3, right? That we are looking at, I guess, another David versus Goliath situation. Cantic are definitely up against it, but you never want to count anybody out. It is worth saying, of course, in the last Hacienda hardpoint that what Revenge managed to hold Glass pretty firm for the first set of rotations at least, so there was some competitiveness in it. Whether or not that will not be the case into this best of 3 is a different story. Right now, of course, 117 Not Found in control of the McLaren hardpoint. They have control of Garage. Will that stay up?
It did in our previous match. Very tough to break this hill from those back spawns we saw, and that Hunter Killer drone just gonna land right onto the face of 2. Saturn using it immediately as soon as it is received, on way to that Hellstorm as well, including using the Sparrow just to make sure that this hill is even harder to break down for Cantic. They're getting nothing going. Finally a kill, but you're walking into the specialist. You lose on Knockix. And you have found no terms of success across this map so far, and you can already see that some of these members, Brody, are rotating to Hill 3.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was an indomitable hardpoint from 117 Not Found. Cantic kind of have to cut the losses and almost immediately rotate over towards New. The problem is they've already fed streaks, and, well, Saturns isn't actually going to land that much with the Predator missile, so Cantic will survive the storm. I think even Saturns is a little bit surprised that he didn't find any value whatsoever. So Cantic will breathe a sigh of relief as they go towards New, but it won't be long before they're met with 117 Not Found players.
I mean, Brody, there was like 5 players right there. I mean,
I don't know how.
You'd think it's going to hit at least one of them, but Cantic get blessed a hand here for this rotation. Unfortunately, they lose those back spawns, so 117 Not Found going to have a chance at breaking this one from the front side. Boris going to slide in, get 2, and that's 117 Not Found finding themselves inside the time, have the lock. It's tough for Cantic now to look back and try to break this for their own right, because now here comes the equalizer from Omeri, and that is in itself is going to keep them at bay for a short while, burn this clock and keep this lead. The gap that we see right now.
dude, just looking at the kills right now. Sans has 18 kills through the first 3 hardpoints in this game of Hacienda. There is a reason that this guy was a standout player going all the way back towards Season 4 of the Snapdragon Pro Series in Europe, back on the Omniscient roster. He is an absolute demon, and a real reason why right now 117 Not Found are putting the hurt down on Kantic. Kantic need a solid rotation. Will this be it right here? Gravity Vortex gun comes out to try and get control of this hill. It's Noe looking to get it done. We'll pick up one. Now looking for a couple of kills more. We'll find a second. It's Bosphorus one at that. Can there be any follow-up with Nothex using the Sparrow? Stunned up. Now no choice but to refire around the corner. Lucky, Boring, Saturn, all of them are there ready for it. Nothex got 3 more Sparrow arrows ready to go. He is finding these kills. This is a good bit of utilization coming through from Kantic. It's given them some time.
It's a very good use of the specialist coming through. That gets you about 20 seconds uncontested. And as soon as the contestation does come in, it's disjointed from 117 Not Found. So Kantic doing a good job at slowly closing this lead. Still 24 seconds that I'm sure you want, but your teammates are coming off the respawn and you're left alone. Boring's going to fire off a triple kill, and the break comes through for the last bit of scrap time. But heading into the second set of rotation, it's 117 Not Found really feeling comfortable, especially in terms of just letting loose in terms of these specialists, especially for breaking that hill 3. But Kantic at the end just showing that they're moments behind getting that wind in their sails to try to mount a comeback.
Yeah, that was the start of something special for Kantic. They need to actually swing that momentum in towards this next hardpoint, though. You can't really afford to be resting on your laurels any longer, and right now that feels like what is exactly happening. 117 Not Found have every point of entry firmly shut closed. Kantic, can you find anything here? Can you get in towards the hard point? Here comes utilization. Amari's on the hunt with the equalizers. Blood in the water, and he is going to start soaking it up. There's one, there's two. Now looking for more. 117 Not Found, keeping these guys away, and the equalizers being used for protection for Amari.
It's tough when you see Omeri doing this with the equalizer, but it's even harder, Brody, when there's a lull between specialists, and Kantic just cannot find themselves a win with their guns alone. It just seems like the only time we really see them battle against 117 Not Found is when they have those specialists to use. But with this disparity in lead, you can see streaks now being gained from these members. Omari has so much to use for these rotations, and the Predator missile already looking to see if you can dislodge Kantic from this rotation. Saturn's going to assist, and it's 3 down for Kantic.
Again, an exact same situation that we were at before. This time around, though, 117 Not Found have modified their setup ever so slightly. Saturn is sat on the driveway, ready to meet Quantic before they can get anywhere close. And I don't think they're even going to get that. Every single line of sight is being watched at the moment by 117 Not Found. Kantic have absolutely no choice in the matter. Here comes utilization, though. War Machine from OZ is going to find 3. Omeri also dealt with, and all of a sudden, Kantic are in.
Kantic in for some much-needed time, Brody. It's going to be another shot at this one, though. Noe's got to be good for holding that front line. Unfortunately, loses their head. Now it's Nothex inside the hill, but is it going to be enough? So far, so good. 3 down. They, in fact, flip the spawns as well. For 117 Not Found, they're going to have to maybe cut their losses here, Brody, but you still have members throwing them at themselves at this hill. You've given up the Hunter-Killer drone. Now you're looking to see if this can assist for this rotation to the 3rd hill. Last time, it was 117 Not Found to sink their fangs deep into this hill and take it away from Kantic. This time, Kantic, they need the split spawn to work out and see if the pinch can be timed correctly.
You've got to piece up here. If you're a master, you've got to find kills. There's number 1. OZ with the Hunter-Killer drone will find number 2. It is just still Kirby left up, but he'll take 2 down with him. That's going to leave the door open here for 117 Not Found to get their way back towards a hard point, especially off the back of utilization. The Sparrow out from Saturn's. What can he find with it? There's a lot of arrows going out right now, but not actually a lot of value found for it. There is finally one with the last arrow in the chamber, or whatever the Sparrow equivalent of a chamber actually is. It's okay though, because Saturn's can actually pick up kills off the back of these guys. Reese looking pretty nice for 117 Not Found right now.
It's a quiver, Brody. A quiver.
It's a quiver? Yeah, thank you, mate. Yeah,
the arrows are going to be coming from. But it doesn't matter for Saturn. It seems like he's just pulling them from the heavens right now. They are godly, the usage of this Sparrow. Z Contic are grasping at straws to see if they can get the scrap time over at Old. So Mary looking to dislodge that last member, slides in for the contest, wins the battle. And it's all eyes over towards the 4th rotation for the 2nd set as 117 Not Found doubling the score of Contic and beyond. You have specialists here. KnockX, last time this Sparrow was such a good usage, such a good tool for holding it. But it's the equalizer from Omeri again, and it just seems like Omeri can do no wrong with this.
Yep, it's always the equalizers that split the difference between these rosters, right? Again, I've mentioned it time and time again that this is the most powerful operator in Call of Duty Mobile, and for a good damn reason. You get it in the right hands, and it can do all sorts of special things. It can even obtain you an entire control over a hard point. Feels like that's what's happening right now. Antic have a couple of operators on side ready to go. I'd like to see them right now. There's one from KnockX. The Sparrow is almost immediately sent flying away, though. Naiwen towards the kill has chosen not to use his just yet, and this is almost very individual from Cantic. They're going in towards this hard point one by one. 3 kills now starting to come through from Cantic, though. An opportunity for an opening for 15 seconds of time, and Kirby doesn't want to allow it, sending War Machine pellets towards those guys. Even if they're not getting the time themselves, 117 Not Found right now are denying time for Cantic.
And that's the important part for 117 Not Found, is the same thing we highlighted for Glass in the previous match, is that even when you're facing a loss for those rotations, you're still sending bodies at these hills, just denying that time, being such a nuisance in terms of the objective. And it has led for this gun skill to just blow this out of proportion. 20 seconds left, Brody, to take this map 1 victory for 117 Not Found. They're looking to a 100-point club the side of Contic, and they're looking like they're pretty close to getting it done. Contic, they are going to take over that 100-point second, but the Predator Missile now gonna make it hard to keep this one going.
There it is. There we go. Predator Missile doing what it's actually supposed to do here. A couple of kills for 117 Not Found. Cantic starting to see red here in this game. I think they're about to see the lobby, to be honest. They will stop 117 Not Found. 3 seconds shy of victory. Needs to be perfect from this moment out. God, I know that's a cliched phrase that we hate hearing casters use at this point, but it really does feel like it. 117 Not Found. Just need a wave of gunfights, and this game is done, so they might well win on the rotation here, Seymour.
It even feels like perfection isn't good enough for this right now. You're waiting for 117 Not Found to get this rotation in hand. They find 3 down, make it 4. Ozzy, the only one here who can maybe make a heroic play, but as Ozzy falls, so will the map. And 117 Not Found just showing how good they can be in this tournament, Brody. An emphatic win on Hacienda Hardpoint.
God, I feel like I got a bit deja vu there towards the end of that hardpoint, Seymour, because it almost went exactly the way our first Hacienda of the day did. Just about 100 points is all that Cantic are actually going to get off the back of that game. Without a shadow of a doubt, it was 117 Not Found in the driver's seat the entire damn time. And here are the reasons why. 45 kills is what Omeri will finish the game on. Saturn's I mean, he started the game, what was it, like 18 kills?
I had
The
18
first 3
kills and like
or something like
3 hills. Yeah, it was disgusting. But to finish it with 38, obviously Saturn slowed down a little bit, but at the same time, you could argue, Brody, that there's not many kills to find when Omeri has got 45.
Yeah, I mean, just what can you say, really? I think Omeri definitely stepped things up towards the back half of that game. Of course, it is worth saying, for those of you guys who are not aware, Boring is actually Creed on this team, and Help Me is Kirby. They get 32 and 29 kills, respectively. Lucky, of course, also finishing with a respectable 32 and 23 KD. On the other side, I think not a lot in the way of positivity to actually talk about. The only player that gets anywhere close to positive is KnockX, and that's really about it. And actually, they have the most respectable performance, not just in the kills department, but also in time. So fair play to KnockX, competitive, but not competitive enough.
I will say, and you have to put some respect over to, KnockX, the way, that Sparrow was used back over towards the Rock Hill on P4 for the first set of rotations. You can see that there are moments, even in this game, and we saw it even for Revenge in the last, or there's that glimpse of possibility for this team to kind of find that ceiling for themselves. But it comes in the fact of that consistency is just not there. And there were so many times where we saw the War Machines find nothing, the Tempest find nothing. And yes, KnockX was getting value out of that Sparrow, but if you don't see the rest of the team really stepping up to hold it back, it's just you're not keeping that consistent pressure down, and you're allowing 117 Not Found off of the respawn to invest tools of their own. And every single time, it was somebody like Saturn or Omeri who was just able to get the better of you in that field. And you know, as that success comes, it's a real snowball here in COD Mobile, because then you get the Predator missile or the Hunter Killer drone, and that makes it even harder to rotate. And we saw how fearless you were for 117 Not Found to drop those streaks down and use those specialists. So heading into the search and destroy, I think fortunately this is, I'd say Contic say this is the best game mode. So we can see if they can maybe stick it to 117 Not Found in map number 2.
Yep, we shall see whether or not we're going to see something similar towards that earlier game number 2 earlier today. Doesn't feel like it off the start. Kantek almost immediately here, starting things off with the first couple of kills. Only 3 players remaining now on 117 Not Found, and they're forced all the way back towards American. So this should afford enough map control to get the bomb down. The problem is you've over-aggressive about getting those kills, and of course Creed and Lucky are going to punish you for it.
Bomb down, retake, 2v3. Sniper in the hand of Lucky, boring alongside him, but again, we saw how difficult it was for the sniper to retake a site like A. Not many long sight lines, and Noah just laying down, gonna catch Lucky. Boring trades it out, but now the information is there, and Boring not able to get past the second one. That's a good round for Contic to get that bomb down, secure the sites, and not allow any chance for retakes.
Yeah, fair play to Contic. They almost immediately know exactly what to do to try and counter 117 Not Found's extensive mastery of search and destroy. Now we're seeing that aggression once again. Will they be able to overwhelm Satins towards site? Pre-firing around the backline here. They know where the player is most likely going to be placed, but it doesn't matter because Creed's going to come through the middle of the map to help out. Satins will also pick up a couple of kills, and that's going to stop Kantic dead in their tracks. These guys are in trouble now. Ozzy down for count, and all of a sudden Nywin is left up all on his lonesome. What do you got for us, Nywin? Nothing.
Yeah. Got a best of both worlds when you just want to full send it to a site. Sometimes you win your fights, sometimes you don't. And 117 Not Found just playing their corners correctly, not allowing Contic to get anywhere close to that bomb site, and shutting them down, immediately tying us back up in this one. So we've seen success, we've seen failure off the attack of Contic, and this time it looks like it's going to be a lot more passive. You see Nywin looking for the first blood through mid, not going to connect with any information even on that one, and it's met with passive from 117 Not Found either. They're hoping that Contic picks off a little bit more that they can show with this aggression over towards A.
Last time around, they were able to force their way towards the site. This time, things aren't so simple. It is a trade. Contic some kind of control over the site. Not really enough, though. Creed able to find one. Once again, it is a trade. They haven't dealt with Lucky inside American. This bomb's going to go down. Whether Lucky can get the exit frag, though, is the question for me. Bomb's not actually gone down just yet. I think Noe's hoping to find a kill. Nope, not going to happen. There's the double sniper hit coming through. Derby goes down. Lucky still plays his life. So 2 versus 1. Nywin has still got to get that bomb, though.
Has made a little bit of competition out of this 1v3. The issue, like you said, is that bomb. And good as the Tundra can be, it is going to be difficult to play this close on this A site. He's got eyes on the cross from American. Back down. Has a chance now for this one. But you can see the immediate rotation coming through from your back spawn. Saturn just moments away from shooting Nywin in the back, but the raid comes through. Nywin makes a 1v1. Unfortunately, misses the shot, Brody. But I thought we were about to see a world star in 4K.
Yeah, I tell you what, that would have been phenomenal from Nywin. The snipers are everything here on firing range, search and destroy. And that would have been the play you wanted to see, but it just wasn't to be. 117 Not Found now able to double up on search and destroy rounds. Setnades will hold Kantic at bay for the moment. The situation isn't really that different here, it has to be said. Satins is in the exact same position, and this time around, Kantic will get the better of him. So, they've got the numbers, they've got site control. Let's see what they can do with it.
Bomb down at B. Chance to make this 2-2. Unfortunately, Noe's going to go down. 3v5 to hold this site. And you lose Nywin in the back. I mean, you're just getting dismantled, knocking over the dominoes. Ozzy makes nothing of it, and it's all down to Knockex. Sights fallen, Brody, and easily at that.
Jeez.
Knockex going to be red. They're going to let him know that should not have happened. At least that easily.
Oh, yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes, right? Again, you know, sometimes it is just a case of things crumble apart when you're looking at a roster that is as dominant as 117 Not Found are at times. The amount of slaying power they've got on the roster, and that right there is exactly why Kantic fall apart just a little bit too easily at the seams. Now, let's see whether the same thing can happen once again. 117 Not Found got themselves spread across the map here, cutting it well enough, and Kantic looking for some kind of way to break through. I think just looking for the first bit before making the first move.
Kantic need to find something, some semblance of what that first round was, Brody, but it just has not been answered in the past 3 in a row that 117 Not Found has easily been able to secure. And does it seem like 117 Not Found really sure that it's going to be a B hit here? You can see that they're going to rotate one over to A, stack it 3 members that they've lost lucky off that first blood. It is a 4-on-4, but they are really putting a lot towards the A side of the map just to deny this information, deny the cross if you can. If you're boring, you're watching it, you're just hoping to feed some of that over to the rest of your team.
Kantic still, should be said, are the ones that have to make the move here. Good news for them is that they don't have to contend with anybody inside American. 117 Not Found's pressure is towards Tin and the trailer. And Mary, probably going to be the player, if anybody, that does something in this round for the defense. Unless Kirby can swing wide and find something special here with a sniper rifle. There's one. Surely not number 2. No way the trade is good, but you're good as well. If we're a 117 Not Found, Omari swings towards the site and picks up the final 2. And Kantic, I mean, despite the fact that they didn't have anybody to contest with towards American side, still not able to secure the bomb plant.
And I like this from 117 Not Found. I mean, that's a good call to rotate off of B. As soon as you get aggressive through that B lane, and you see that there's no real early pressure there from Kantic, you're happy to send your player over to top 10. It secures even more pressure through that middle of the map, denying some space from Kantic and really funneling into the rest of the team towards trailer. And that is boring, just having himself a game. 8 kills already, taking down Ozzy inside of the spawn of Kantic and just allowing the rest of the team to follow you up.
Oh, looking for Creed on the flank. Not going to happen for more than 1 kill. Lucky with yet another trade, and that's going to be a phenomenal way to end the defenses for 117 Not Found. Kantic allowed just 1 round. I believe it was the very first round of this search and destroy, right, Seymour? So it was like Kantic, they started things off strong, and 117 had themselves snuffed out from there on out. So now we'll see whether 117 Not Found can be just as aggressive on the offense. Kantic seem to want to overwhelm their way on towards A. They're putting a lot of stock into Nokek surprising towards the left here. And he's not going to be able to.
Omari comes out with 2. A double kill there. It's traded onto Kirby, but will it be enough? Master holds their own inside the trailer, and suddenly the tides have shifted. Minute 30 left, and that is it. Kantic put their foot down on defense for the first swap. They get the first round on their offense. They get the first round on their defense, Brody, but it's a long way back. 3 rounds in a row just to tie it up. A couple more to put it away. And they want to make it as confident as possible.
Well, that's a good start for Kantic here on the defense. 117 Not Found. Swiftly check that corner. They're a lot more direct with their approach this time around. They'll take the trades in the middle of the map. That's information gained that you are free to get this bomb down. They've got to be quick to react on the flank here, though. Lucky
full flank
has a lot to do. Whether or not they can actually find the frag is everything. There it is from Nokx. Now Kantic starting to close in.
Good patience from Master, but now they have a pinch. 2 players on each side, and Nywin to just continue this pressure. Cut down to a 2v2. It's all up to Saturn. 23 seconds to play this 1 versus 2. Both members gonna have to chow this. The early damage, they send it, they take it. 16 seconds, plenty of time to get the defuse, Brody. And that is just a fantastic job from Kantic. You gotta put some props to Nywin. The way you play that quick flank all the way deep into the spawn, you go through bathrooms, and you have no idea there if you're Lucky. You thought Lucky may have gotten timing there, but he didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a certain element of 117 not found, almost mishandling that in a way, right? You've got to be careful of players flanking. The fact that Lucky isn't quite on the ball turns things around in Kantic's favor. So that's 2 rounds on the bounce here, where Kantic are able to turn the fortune in their favor. This time, though, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. You've already lost the first couple of players, and now the world is your oyster. If you're a 117 not found, you have a number of ways in which you could play this round. Smokes over the top towards B. That's going to give the idea that Kantic have to deal with a threat over towards there, but it's all smoke and mirrors.
It is all smoke and mirrors, Brody. The smoke, the cut noise, and they draw everyone out of A. A 2v5 retake now, and you are completely separated if you're both Ozzy and Noe. Nowhere to go, and you have no help. Ozzy's going to take the 1v1. Omari happy to win that. And this is a masterclass attack from 117 not found. They dismantle Kantic in that round. And now it's match point for 117 not found.
Destroy the objective.
And phenomenal play from 117 not found. Just giving them the edge. The smallest of tactical decisions made. Throws Kantic completely off base. How about this for aggression off the start? Smokes through the middle of the map. Omari draws first blood. Man down. Kantic. And a 2-2 split here on the defense. They are totally weakened. And again, we're in a situation where 117 not found are treating this like the playground. It's a good trade from Noe, but almost immediately traded right back out.
Boring's all the way top sniper tower. He is just not afraid to do anything. 10 kills from Boring, 10 from Omari. 2v4 again. Bomb going down at A, and this retake's going to be so disconnected. Finally, you get both Nywin and Knockex grouping up through mid, but look how spread out 117 not found are.
This definitely feels like a moment where Kantic could exploit it. Now we're seeing a couple of players get together inside Trailer Park, though. That's Kirby and Creed. Creed's going to jump on out. You're giving kills away for free here. Fortunately enough, Kirby's found Nywin from the middle of the map here. And now, since Creed has gone down, you know where Knockex is. All you got to do is take him out. Surely not Expedition to finish this one off. Nope, Satins is going to put Knockex out of his misery. And Kantic, for that matter, as we close things out on the Search and Destroy 7-3. No overtime required. I don't think that should be a surprise to anybody.
And that is just fantastic from 117 not found. I mean, you saw a little bit of a pushback there from Kantic in some rounds, and you saw that there were ideas and strategies there that I liked from Kantic, and some really, really confident plays in the early portions of their offense and defense. But there was a couple of misplays, Brody, where, you think if you're Kantic all the way back into round number 3, you have the bomb down at B, you have a 3v3 for the post plant, everything looking good for your team, but you lose each individual fight. That is just something that I think snowballs your mental into a situation that you're not feeling good for the rest of that attack, and you're uncertain even in your own post-plant capabilities. And you just saw that 117 not found were just able to play their ones, individually overpower Kantic. Boring and Omari had a great map too, but Omari had a fantastic series altogether across the hard point and the Search and Destroy. And I think that individual skill alone really elevates some of these teams to the next level.
Yeah, definitely, right? And I think that's the key thing here is I don't think we're expecting anything crazy in the team play category at this stage of the competition, right? I think as we get into later weeks of competition, as we get into playoffs, perhaps, that's when I think you're going to start to question, all right, teams need to kind of get things figured out in the teamwork category. For now, though, I think when you're just facing down a roster like Glass earlier on today, a roster like 117 not found, you are definitely going to be fighting an uphill battle, not on the teamwork, but just on pure gunny. And that's what both of those rosters had. That's why both of those rosters were able to win their matchups 2-0. And that's going to get you through some of the earlier matches if you're the Titans, if you're the Goliath in the David versus Goliath scenarios that we've had on show today. But as we get further and further in this tournament, Seymour, I think these teams are going to realize they're going to need to kind of step things up a little bit. Actually, you know what's funny is it probably aligns pretty well with SBS because SBS is coming up, I believe, in February. So these guys are going to get things going into February and towards playoffs, and that's going to ramp themselves up for European SBS as well. So things are going to be great for these best teams in Europe.
It's going to be great for us, too. A lot of COD Mobile to enjoy, a lot of fun to be had in terms of these broadcasts, Brody. And I think, although it's 2-0s for both of our matches today, I'd say that just seeing that this new Glass roster is looking so sharp, 117 not found, looking dominant in terms of nearly 100 point clubbing. 100 point clubbing Contic in their matchup.
Yep.
It was almost to that an emphatic fashion. It's just I'm excited to see how teams can adapt over the course of this tournament to hopefully take them down in later meetings. I think there's a lot of growth to be had for the European region. And I think when you're nurturing talent in a competitive fashion like this, that things are just going to get better for every team.
Yeah, they most definitely are. Well, that's going to do it for our first day of UEC action of 2025, but it is far from over. We still have, I believe, 3 weeks straight of action across Monday and Tuesday nights in European Call of Duty Mobile still to come. So make sure you guys continue to tune in for that. That continues tomorrow as well for the 14th of January 2025. We'll have a couple more matches to show you guys, including Royalty versus All-Stars and Severity versus the Special Suicide Squad. Can't wait for that one because I don't know what those guys have got for us. For now, thank you to everybody for tuning in to today's broadcast. I've been Infinity. That's been Seymour. Sometimes directions are hard to get right. He's been Seymour, and we've been casting Call of Duty Mobile.